Hey guys, all right, so here we go. How to build your own harmonica solo. Okay, so one of my favorite viewers, Marina, has been asking me to do this for quite a while. This is for you, Marina, and for everybody else who can benefit from it. So the question is, all right, I've been learning how to play the blues scale. You know, people are teaching songs, people are teaching licks, but how do I actually make my own harmonica blues solo? Okay, good question. I like this question. So the first thing that I want to address with that is the whole idea that music is a language. And if you're not familiar with Victor Wooten's teachings, I would highly recommend anything that he does, even though he's a bass player. His book, The Music Lesson, is a really fun read and deals with a lot of important parts of music that are often neglected in traditional music education formats. And the most important kind of central tenet is the idea that music is a language. And so you learn it, and you can draw a lot of analogies between regular language, how we learn language, which is by imitating people, and by, you become a great conversationalist mostly by spending time with other great conversationalists. Maybe you don't know any great harmonica players, but you've got CDs, or you have access to listening to great harmonica players and trying to jam along with them. That's the number one best thing you can do. That's what I did, when I was starting. That's what helped me the most, was listening to, for me, it was James Cotton and Sonny Boy Williamson, and just listening to that stuff and trying to play along and trying to learn how to play it. Okay, so we learn it from others, okay? Thinking about music as a language, when you play a solo, you want to tell a story. There should be a beginning and a middle and an end. It shouldn't just ramble, right? It's no fun if you're having a conversation with someone, they're just going on and rambling, and you can't see, there doesn't seem to be any point to it. And one of the important things about having your solo be telling a story is the use of space. If I didn't use space when I was talking to you right now, you'd find it pretty weird, right? If I was like, hi, my name is Luke, this is the Funky Harp YouTube channel, and I'm going to teach you how to play the harmonica right now, and this is how you play the harmonica. You play the harmonica by putting it to your lips, and then when you put it to your lips, then you breathe in, and then you breathe out, and first you're going to breathe in on the whole three, and then when you're I mean, come on, it's ridiculous, right? But so many, especially beginning players, you find that happens all the time, just playing just too many notes, and of course, because maybe you get it up on stage at the open mic or whatever, you're scared and whatnot, and the adrenaline is running, and so you just or you feel insecure, and so you want to play a lot to try and impress people or whatever, but it ends up being counterproductive. So use space. And then the other thing about language and the analogy of building a solo is using dynamics. If you want to draw people in, you have to play more quietly or speak more quietly. Or if I speak real loud like this, then it's gonna, people are gonna kind of back up, So, space and dynamics and rhythm make for an interesting conversation, or in this case, a great solo. Okay, so we're going to get into it now. I have looped myself playing a blues progression into this looper pedal, and so I'm going to be using that throughout the course of this video. And so we're going to start by, here's one other thing I want to address real quick too, before we get into this, is like this thing of like, well, I want to do something that nobody else has done before. Well, here's the thing, is like, you're you. So if you try and do what someone else has done before, it's still going to sound like you. You're not going to be able to get away from it sounding like you. So don't worry about sounding like someone else, It's like, that's like saying, I want to have a conversation, but I want to use words that nobody's ever used before. Okay, well, I can say that, but it's not really communicating anything of real meaning or value. So don't be afraid to use little melodic ideas and motifs. Everybody does it. Everybody has done it. And just to prove that it's effective, and also to help you if you're a newbie, I'm going to show you 3 ideas right now. And then I'm going to show you how just using these 3 ideas, we can have we can build an awesome solo. You don't need to know a ton of licks or a ton of scales or anything. you could just know 3 ideas and you could be on your way to a solo. Okay, so let me just go over those ideas first, and then we'll look at implementing them. All right, the first one is this. Okay, very, very simple, quintessential. I mean, that's the harmonica. And all I'm doing is I'm drawing on the 2 and the 3, and then I'm blowing on the 4, and then drawing on the 4. And I'm giving it a little bend on the 4. So I'm just saying oi. If you can't bend yet, that's okay. I just want you to do. Just say oi when you're on that 4. Okay? So that's the first little phrase that we're going to use as we're building our solo. The second one is sort of answering that. What I'm doing here is I'm drawing on the 4, bending it down, and then sliding to the left to the 3 and the 2, okay? And if you've watched my other videos, this is this is the one I always refer to as like the quintessential blues lick. Okay? So, right there, just with those 2 ideas, we kind of have a question and an answer. Here's the question, and here's the answer. Okay? And that's another real key point. And when you're wanting to learn how to build a great blues harmonica solo, repetition, call and response. That's what creates a conversation. In this case, maybe you're having a conversation with yourself. You're asking a question, and then you're answering it yourself. Or just repeat the same phrase, and we'll get into all that. And I'm going to show you examples of all that coming in just a few minutes. But first, let me show you the third idea. The third idea is by far, I've played a lot of gigs in front of a lot of different people, and there's one thing that always gets the crowd going more than anything else. I can play in the most difficult position. I can play fast notes. I can play parallel fourths or use triad pairs or all kinds of like sophisticated improvisational ideas. But I'll tell you what gets the crowd going every time is this. Woo! That's what people love right there. That's what they want to hear when you play the harmonica. So give the people what they want. All right. So that all I'm doing there is, of course, that's the trill between 4 and 5. Now, there's a lot of things you can do with that trill to give it some nuance. You can try and bend it down. Bend it down. Coming back up with those vowel shapes. Or you could oi, 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 oi. This would be oi, oi, oi. Or here's what the bending down thing would sound like. But it's all just that trill, between the 4 and 5. You can move the harmonica or you can move your head either way. I prefer to move the harmonica because moving my head like this, my brain jiggles around and I get a headache. But you do whatever's comfy. Okay, so we have these 3 ideas, and what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna hit the little loop that I've recorded here in the looper pedal, and I'm going to just play for you using those 3 ideas how you can have an effective harmonica solo. Notice I'm leaving space, lots of space right here. Notice I used dynamics there when I was doing the trill, right? I started soft and then I made it louder. I'll do that again. Dynamics, huge, huge. Asking the question. I'm going to ask it again. And now I'm going to answer it. Watch me just trill, just trill. Again, repeating the same phrase. I'll repeat it again. Again. see how these just a few ideas here, and see how effective this is just with these 3 ideas? Space. See how that space just... The space is where all the power comes from. All right. Cool. So there's some ideas. First of all, right off the bat, of just, very... That it doesn't have to be complicated. You can just take a few simple ideas, put your heart into it, use repetition, use space, use dynamics, and you're gonna be able to communicate something of meaning and of substance that's gonna mean something to people. I mean, that's gonna bring joy and healing to people. And it's really very, very simple. It doesn't have to be rocket science. Just repetition, space, and dynamics. And I guess the other thing in here too is rhythm. That's the other thing is developing a rhythmic idea. And a really great way to work on developing rhythmic ideas is limit yourself. Limit yourself to one note. Okay, if you play a solo and you limit yourself to only using one note, you are going to be forced to come up with some creative rhythmic ideas because, it's going to be super boring if you just play one note in one rhythm. All right. So I'm going to play a solo right now using one note to illustrate this principle. And I'm going to choose the root, and I'm going to play both the 3 blow and the 2 draw, which is the same note, okay? Because that's going to give me a little bit more options. But let me just kind of illustrate the idea of developing some good rhythms by limiting yourself to one note. Notice at the beginning of the solo too, it's real good to make a statement and leave space. It's a great way to start your solo. Okay, so, all right, so that obviously, I mean, maybe that's not the most awesome solo of all time, but, it kind of works. Let me try it on another. I'm going to try it on the 2 draw bent down a whole step. Let's see how that is. Gosh, I just want to go to another note. There I'm using some, using the hand wah, a little bit of dynamics too. Maybe I'll let myself have 2 notes now. Leaving space. Requires a lot of restraint to use that space. It requires a lot of restraint. But that's where the power is. All right, so those are some good exercises you can try, to force yourself to maybe break out if you're kind of stuck in not developing some rhythmic ideas. Limit yourself to maybe 2 notes or 3 notes. Let me try it with 3 notes. Okay, so sometimes, imposing limitations is a great way to spark new creativity. All right, so I think we kind of covered a good amount of ideas there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and then I'm going to shoot a couple more videos in a couple different keys, and maybe one more in this key first, and then I'll do a couple in another keys too. And we'll just do a little bit of call and response because, this is, like I said before, this is a conversation. And so part of that means is that you're not just doing talking all the time, you're also doing listening, right? So maybe if you have a piano player, maybe they play a little trill, and you play off of that or something. And so you're listening and you're responding. So I really like when I'm doing private lessons here on the island, I really like to spend time doing call and response, playing something, leaving, and then I try and have somebody play it back for me. If they can't, I play it again, and then if they can't, then we'll stop and I kind of show them how to play it. But that's a great way to learn vocabulary, and that's a great way to kind of get the tools to build a good blues harmonica solo. So I hope this stuff is helpful for you, and let me know, shoot me some comments or reach out to me in social media if you have any questions. And keep on exploring the harmonica.